Hi, my name is Debra R. Richardson of Debra R. Richardson LLC, and I work with you to help you clean up your vendor data, clean up your vendor processes so that you pay the right vendor. Now, this week's Vendor Master File tip of the week is how your vendor setup form can prevent payment fraud. And I do want to clarify this is a little different than changes for that you would receive for your banking on a company branded ACH form that I recommend. But you do need to have that as well. And so I did do a video or vendor master file tip of the week on that, and I'll link it so it'll come up at the end of this video. So make sure you check that out if you're interested. But for the vendor setup form, when you have changes, these are the things or the types of information that is separate from banking. I still recommend that you require existing data for those changes, and that includes with the tax ID, with the vendor legal name, and then also with the remittance address. And so you would have separate fields for the old data and a separate field for the new data. And what this does is it gives another layer of authentication once you compare that with what's on the existing vendor record to ensure that you are dealing with your real vendor and not with the fraudsters. And studies or surveys have shown that if you push back and ask for identifying information in order to make those changes, the fraudsters will give up and just go to the next potential victim that is not asking those types of identifying questions. Now, to add another level to your vendor setup forms, as long as we're talking about it, how about combining your vendor setup form with the IRS W-9 form and the IRS W-8 forms, the 5 different versions? The IRS does allow substitute forms, and it may be easier for your vendors to complete the forms because you're going to ask, for example, for the vendor's name and their DBA that they would submit on invoices. You're not going to ask for their legal name and their disregarded entity that is asked from the IRS on that W-9 form. So it could be easier for your vendors to fill out. And so that is a win-win. Now, you can revise your existing vendor setup form if you have one, or you can create new ones from scratch. Now, I do have a substitute W-9 template and a substitute W-8 template for the W-8 bin and the W-8 bin-E, which are the two most frequent ones submitted to Accounts Payable, inside of a toolkit that includes everything you need to plug those gaps so that you avoid fraud, regulatory fines, and just overall bad vendor data. So I do have that all in a toolkit for you. And in the description, check it out because I will have a link to it. And I'll also have a 25% off discount code. Now, if you'd like more information on how to improve your vendor processes, please go to my website at deborarrichardson.com for free tools and resources to avoid fraud, regulatory fines, and bad vendor data. So good luck, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified next Tuesday for the next Vendor Master File tip of the week.